Use synthetic division to divide polynomials. So here's an example. The quantity of 6x squared minus 5x minus 6 divided by the quantity of x plus 3. Instead of dividing this out in long form, what we're going to do is use synthetic division. And your first move is this. Whatever this is here, you have a plus 3. If it's plus 3, you're going to use negative 3 and put a little bracket around it. Then go to what you're dividing on the left, 6x squared minus 5x minus 6. Use the coefficients, 6, negative 5, negative 6. Next up, just make a line underneath all of that. And your first move after that is to simply drop the coefficient that's the first one, 6. Now what you got to do is multiply that negative 3 by 6 to get a negative 18. And then add that column. Negative 5 plus negative 18 is a negative 23. Next up, you're going to multiply that negative 3 by the negative 23 you just came up with to get a positive 69, and then add that last column. Negative 6 plus 69 is 63. And you're finished. You have the answer to it, you just haven't written it out yet in the right form. What you see on the very end is the remainder. So if you go back one spot to the left here, this is the remainder. You go back one spot, this is the constant. Go back another spot, there's your x term. So your solution is 6x squared minus 23, I'm sorry, not x squared, just 6x. 6x minus 23 plus 63 over x plus 3. X squared minus 3x minus 18. You will divide that polynomial by x minus 6. Look at the x minus 6. You have a minus 6. That means you're going to use positive 6. Put a bracket, a reversed L-shaped bracket. And then write the coefficients from what you're dividing. 1, negative 3, negative 18. Draw a line. Drop that first coefficient, 1. Multiply 6 by 1 to get 6 and put it here. Add negative 3 and 6 to get a 3. And then multiply 6 by 3 to get 18. And add negative 18 and 18 to get 0. You have no remainder. It is 0. That means that x minus 6 is a factor of x squared minus 3x plus, or minus 18. So if you have no remainder, your next item over is the constant, and the next item over from there is the x term. So you have 1x plus 3, and that's it. X squared plus x minus 1. We will divide that by x minus 1. Notice back here you have a minus 1. So use the opposite, which is 1. Put a bracket there, and then write down your coefficients from x squared plus x minus 1, which is 1, 1, negative 1. Draw a line and drop the first coefficient. Multiply that by the 1 from your bracket, here to here. 1 times 1 is 1, and put the result there. Add this column. That'll give us a 2. Now multiply 1 times 2 and put the result here. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So we have a remainder of 1, a constant of 2, and an x term with a coefficient of 1. So that means x plus 2 plus 1 over x minus 1. X to the fourth plus 3x minus 2, and we will divide that by x plus 5. Notice that we have a plus 5 here. That means you're going to use a negative 5. So we will put that down and go like this. But now you have to write out the coefficients of what you're dividing. And notice that it goes from x to the fourth to 3x. What terms are we missing in there? Yeah, x to the third and x to the second. So the coefficient of x to the fourth is 1, but there's no x to the third in there, but its coefficient is 0 because it cancels it out. And for x squared, coefficient of 0. And then now you make it to the 3x, there's a 3, and then a negative 2. So now we can drop the first coefficient, which is 1. You're going to multiply here, negative 5 times 1 to get a negative 5 and place it here. Add this column to get negative 5. Now multiply this negative 5 by this negative 5 and put the result here. That is 25. 0 plus 25 is 25. Now multiply negative 5 times 25 and put the result here. That's a negative 125. 3 plus a negative 125 is a negative 122. So now negative 5 times negative 122 is going to give me, let's see, the same thing as positive 500 plus 110, which would be 610. Add the last column, which would give me 608. So down here is your remainder. That's a constant. That's an x term. That's an x squared. And that's an x to the third. So let's write this out. You have x to the third minus 5x squared plus 25x minus 122 plus 608 over x plus 5. Alright, we have a minus 3 there, so we're going to use 3. And then write 7, negative 23, and 6. Now we're going to draw a line, drop the 7, and multiply it by the 3 to get 21. Add those two together. Negative 23 plus 21 is a negative 2. 3 times a negative 2 is negative 6. 6 plus a negative 6 is 0. This means you have a remainder of 0, a constant of negative 2, and an x coefficient of 7. So 7x minus 2 is your answer. We have a plus 3 there, so we're going to use negative 3. And our coefficients are 1, negative 5, 10. So let's draw a line, drop the first one, and multiply by negative 3, putting the result here. Add those to get a negative 8. Multiply by negative 3 again to get 24. Add those together to get 34. Remainder, constant, x. So you have 1x minus 8 plus a remainder of 34 over x plus 3. We have a plus 2 here, so it's got to be negative 2 that we use here. The coefficients are 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2. Draw a line and write the first one down. Multiply it by the negative 2 from here. This times this and put the result here. So that's going to give us a negative 2. Add those together to get a 0. Multiply the 0 by this negative 2. Put the result there. 0. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is positive 2. And then add that column. 0. This is your remainder. This is your constant, your x term, and then the x squared. So we end up with an answer of 1x squared. There is nothing to put here. Minus 1. There is no remainder. So it's just x squared minus 1.